Hi, my name is Margie Gehle, and I've chosen to do an analysis of leadership in meetings for this special project. I attend several meetings a day. Some of them are very effective, and some of them are not very effective at all. Most of the meetings that I attend fall somewhere in between. The two that I have decided to analyze for this project, one was a shining example of success, and the other was absolutely an example of failure. The first meeting was led by Laura. She's a senior vice president, and the meeting was for electronic consent agreements. Laura laid out a plan of action for us to follow for a new way of accepting signed documents from our clients electronically. This was going to help us be more efficient and more effective. Laura invited the right people to the meeting. She respected our schedules by starting the meeting on time. Unfortunately, one of our key members of the group was late. That was Gary. Module 4 covers the three-dimensional taxonomy of behavioral approaches: task-oriented, relations-oriented, and change-oriented. Task-oriented is where the leader helps the members achieve their objectives and reach their goals. Relations-oriented shows concern for the needs of the group members. And change-oriented is when a leader sees the need for a change, plans and implements the change, and then monitors its progress. Laura used relations behavior by not making Gary feel bad for being late to the meeting. Module 5 covers situational leadership, and the 4 styles are directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. Laura had a clear agenda with specific directing style as she laid out the plan for implementing this change. She shared the details ahead of time, like Robert Posen suggests in the Extreme Productivity article. She used task behaviors, identifying the action plan, and made assignments with very clear deadlines for all of us in the meeting. Laura balanced the relation behaviors by soliciting feedback, listening to our opinions, and teaching us when we had clarifying questions that we didn't understand. Laura used change behaviors as she detailed how the customers would provide these documents to us, which documents were in scope, what needed to be done, and what our follow-up plan would be. Brook and Goschel gave an article, Beware of the Busy Manager, that describes 4 different categories of leaders. Procrastinators are low energy and low focus. Disengaged leaders are low energy but high focus. Distracted leaders have high energy, low focus, and purposeful leaders have high energy and high focus. Laura is definitely a purposeful leader. She has high energy, high focus, she's very self-aware, and she's very effective. The group members in this meeting were very engaged, receptive. We asked a lot of questions, and Laura was able to clarify those for us. On Blake and Mouton's managerial grid, Laura was acting in the team-level manager quadrant with a high attention to the tasks and a moderate to high attention to the people's needs. Katz describes 3 skills for leaders: technical, human, and conceptual. Laura has all 3 of these, but specifically showed her human and technical skills in this meeting. Laura was using transformational leadership during this meeting. She was focused, she engaged with the group. That helped increase her influence in the process steps for this project. The meeting was very successful, it was organized, and it was well planned out. The project went into effect the next week, and there were no issues. Everyone was satisfied with the increase of efficiency that our clients were able to have. In stark contrast, the second meeting that I analyzed was a manual controls process that was led by Pauline. Pauline is a vice president from our risk management team, and unfortunately, she doesn't know a whole lot about our group and our functions. She was proposing an adjustment to the way that we accept large unscheduled payments to mitigate the risk that we have with those. As we sat for the meeting, there were 4 key decision makers that were obviously missing from the meeting. She began the meeting late. She seemed very disorganized. And when questions were raised about why those 4 key decision makers weren't present, and we recommended that she go ahead and reschedule this meeting when they could be there, she decided not to and wanted to go ahead and push forward. Pauline shared a presentation that was not comprehensive, and it seemed like it was thrown together at the last minute. She didn't explain why the change was needed for this process, and she really didn't explain what it was that we were going to do differently. The team leaders in the meeting that were expected to roll this out for their teams had a lot of questions, and we were getting very confused. Pauline is not very well versed in our business. She didn't understand the existing process the way that it was already in play today, but she proposed changes that were being made to it. It really seemed like she was given this directive, but she didn't do a lot of research for it. Many questions were raised. We called into question the steps that she said were today's process, which were not right. We didn't agree with the changes that she was making and didn't have the steps laid out. One question that we asked Pauline was if she had updated the procedure. In the financial industry, we are very highly regulated, and we have to have current procedures for our team members to follow. And she acted like it was a minor detail and she would get to it eventually, which made us very uneasy. Pauline should have used relation behaviors to help the group feel confident and comfortable with the changes that she wanted to make. And at a minimum, she should have had technical skills and displayed those so that she had all of the steps spelled out correctly. I would describe Pauline as a distracted leader. According to Brook and Goshel's article, she had high levels of energy to roll this process out, but very low focus on the details. Robert Posen recommends in his article in Principle 4 to prepare your plan, but be ready to change it. Pauline was not able to adjust her plan when all of the issues were raised in this meeting. On Blake and Mouton's grid, I would consider Pauline to be impoverished, with a low attention for people and a low concern for the tasks. Other members in our team meeting were discouraged, frustrated, and eventually became disinterested. The outcome of this meeting was confusion, discord. We were not willing to implement these changes as she requested. They were supposed to be effective immediately, and we decided as a group we were just not ready yet. Because the key decision makers that were missing from this meeting, the process steps that were not feasible or spelled out well, and the procedures that had not been updated to this point. Several additional meetings have occurred for this process, but we have yet to implement it. We started the planning for this the second week of July. I would say that Pauline took a laissez-faire approach to leading this project. She had a hands-off approach. She didn't have any attempts to give the team leaders what they needed for this rollout to be successful. And unfortunately, she lost some respect in this situation. In the many meetings that I see, there are a lot of leadership behaviors. There are moderately effective, moderately ineffective meetings, but most of the meetings do land somewhere in between. I chose these two examples, and I realized that they were very extreme on the spectrum, but I wanted to analyze a very, very good meeting and a very poor meeting so that I could illustrate and learn from the behaviors from the best and from the worst situations. This course introduced many leadership styles and approaches, and as I read through the descriptions in the modules and analyzed my own leadership, I tried to give myself a new description every module that we encountered. But one thing I did learn is that leadership is complex, and we apply most of the different styles and approaches in different situations in the business world. Even though I tried to pick between the styles and approaches each week and reclassify my leadership style, I know that there is no one type of leader. I'm a combination of many. I will continue to use the information that I learned in this course and analyze the leaders that I come in contact with to refine my behaviors so I can be as effective as I possibly can be in my career. Thank you.